Don't forget to follow the Meticulous Manicurist on your social media sites and click that subscribe button to know when I upload the next video. So who's joined me today that really dreads doing their right hand if you're right-handed or doing your non-dominant hand? Well, I hate it just as much as you do, but I'm going to share with you today some tips and tricks to make it easier for you. So stay tuned. You're always going to start with pushing your cuticles back with a cuticle pusher. This is my favorite knife and cuticle pusher. It actually can scrape off a tiny bit of the trigenium that's adhered to your nail plate while you're pushing back your cuticle. The reason we start with pushing back your cuticle is because when we go to file and remove the oils from the nail plate with our 180 grit file, is to make sure that you've pushed the skin back far enough that you can actually file off any trigenium that's adhered to the nail plate. If you don't push the cuticle back far enough and you just file the nail plate, you've still got skin adhered to the nail plate. So now I'm going to take my file and I'm just going to lightly, ever so lightly, go all around the cuticle line, filing off any little bits of dead skin and just very lightly buffing the nail plate. Now we're only going to go from the center to the left-hand side of the nail on all 5 nails, and then we're going to go back to the right-hand side of the nail. So here I'm doing the left from center to the left side, and now I'm going to go to the center to the right side and then go back from the index finger, middle, ring finger to the pinky. It's easier when you're doing your left hand to do it this way. When you're holding the file in your left hand, you're going to want to use your opposite hand with that file to apply pressure and to twist your fingers so you can actually get to the areas that you need to, because it's really awkward to try to move your hand and arm and file with a hand that you don't normally use. After I've done the cuticle area, I'm just going to go over the whole surface of the nail, because when a fingernail grows up the nail area after a couple of weeks, everything is in a different location. So I need to file those sides and edges to, make it look like it's growing out of the nail. So when you put on the new acrylic, you're going to put it where you need it, and the shape will already be in the acrylic. The key to applying the acrylic successfully is to go slow. You're going to get a small bead. You're going to place it where the old acrylic meets the new growth on the nail plate, and then you're going to keep your brush straight up and down the nail. You're going to press slightly to the center to spread the ball of acrylic out, and then you're going to scoot to one side and press it to the corner of the nail and pull up, and then you're going to press it to the other side and then pull up. Here I'm going to hold up a file to show you that I'm missing a corner on the nail, and I'm going to correct that by adding a bead of acrylic to the tip. Watch when I go to set the bead of acrylic on the tip how I place my pinky finger under my thumb. This is for balance, so I can balance my hand and utilize pressure to get the acrylic where I need it. I'm going to pick up my bead of acrylic, place it where the new acrylic or the old acrylic meets the new growth. Now, see how I have my pinky balanced underneath my finger, and I'm going to twist my hand so I can get the right position of the brush to pull the acrylic over to the side of the nail and then blend it up. Here I'm just using my brush to taper the edges all the way around the nail. I want it to look like it's growing out of the cuticle line and blend it into the sidewalls. And then I always look at the nail to see if there's any little missing spots. Sometimes you can fill a nail and it'll look fine, but most of the time it's going to need another bead of acrylic to balance out any shapes that, are missing from it. So I can see that there's a little dip on the side of the nail that needs another bead of acrylic. I'm going to place a bead of acrylic at the tip to fill in another little missing spot, but when I put it on I realize it's way too wet to work with, so I need to let it set up for a few seconds before I start messing with it, or it just becomes, you know, you're just chasing it around the nail. So it needs to dry a little bit before you can actually pat it and move it into place and shape it how you would like for it to be shaped. Under the towel, I've placed a little container of acrylic that I can rest my finger on. So on the earlier fingers, I was resting my pinky under the finger. Here I'm resting my pinky on the towel. It's on top of the container for balance. Remember, the key is to go slow. The slower you go, the faster you'll be done, because there'll be less mistakes and you'll have less filing to do. So just press it really gently and carefully right where you need it to be. Here I decide that the tip of this pinky still need a little help, so I'm going to set a bead of acrylic on the tip, holding my hand toward me, letting the ball of acrylic rest, and then press it into place using the sides of the brush. See how I turn the brush in my fingers? Using the edge of the bristles on the right side and then on the left side. And then I'll blend it backwards and brush it into place. Now it's time to file. I'm going to file the sidewalls to make sure that there isn't any acrylic adhered to the skin on each side of the nail. Then I'm going to rest my pinky on my thumb so I have a good place to balance. And then with constant contact, I'm going to slowly go around the nail plate in a sweeping, arching motion to perfect my shape. Here I'm filing the tip of the nail to make sure it's a little bit tapered. And then I'm going to go around the cuticle area. And then I'll blend the entire nail. I also like to buff and then remove the dust so you can see any little imperfections and then file again if necessary. Doing the thumb is a little bit different than doing the other 4 fingers. So after you file the sidewalls, shape your tip a little bit. I'm actually twisting my wrist to file the nail and putting pressure against the nail file from underneath. Then after I buff, I'm going to remove the dust, use a little bit of acetone to get everything from around my cuticles, and then I'm going to put on a coat of clear gel polish and cure. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you learned something that you didn't already know. Here's the finished product. Please remember to subscribe and share my videos to help me grow my channel if you enjoyed it. Thanks so much. See you next time.